So could anyone please inform me of when was it that this part of the world ceased to be a democracy? How long has it been? 10 years, 15, 20? Because really I don't know. See, I'm ignorant. And I would like those of you who are more knowledgeable on such things to inform me. Excuse me, teach me. Because for the last at least 10 years, I feel like I've been under some dictatorship, totalitarianism. It's for me personally. I can only speak for myself. Since I'm a child, I'm always observing and writing about things I see around me. I've always done that. Okay? And I continue to do it. Why? Because it's therapeutic for me. Because these men, they call them men, and the men who are Asian and Caucasian, I understand how the black males feel. They are made to feel as males, not men. Because they're not really given opportunities, except in rare cases, to really grow and develop and be men. And I think part of it is also, maybe they don't have the ambition, maybe they don't have the opportunity, maybe they have not been in the right environment. There are various reasons why the black man is not living up to his fullest potential, right? You have these guys. They've already gone into our lands, people, they say, the people, the melanated, they say, and then the white woman says, I'm melanated too. Okay, bitch. The carbonated, how about that? The darkies, what you used to call, what the English fondly called, not so fondly, okay? They called us gollywog. They called us darkies. So the darkies, right? Because life is difficult. Opportunities are not as much for the black male as it is for the black female. And the women must acknowledge that when they are really throwing it in the faces of the black male, how much better they are than him, and they have more than him and he has nothing and he's broke and they're successful. And understand, black woman, that your pussy is your passport, okay? Because they love us. They love us because only in a sexual way, and in the worst way possible, because to them we are like some sexual beasts. All right? Before that it was beasts and beasts of burden. So there was slavery. Right now I don't know about slavery, so let somebody else talk about that. But we've always been the workhorses, right? And now things are changing, and people are receiving positions, and those black men and women who have arrived and achieved, they are looking down on the others and saying, well, there's no racism. I made it. Look at me. Candace Owens comes to mind. Racism doesn't exist. I'm like, bitch, please shut the hell up and take your white dick. Okay? You don't have to deep throat, because I know it's not that big. So you can shut up for just for a minute, okay? But I don't want to hear any black person say that racism does not exist. See, I'm the one who speaks from my vantage point is there. I'm in the middle, and I pivot. I turn around. I go full circle. 360. I observe. I check every single side. And in between, I check above, beneath, in the middle, to the left, to the right. I check it all. But what I notice y'all are doing, especially the black people and some white people, they stay in one. That's it. This is our lane. I'm in the Democrat lane. I'm in the Republican lane. I'm in the liberal lane. I'm in the conservative lane. And it's like that. So you're a bunch of dummies. Voters are dummies. Because they only listen to what the politicians say, and they listen to what those in office are saying, and they listen to only their mainstream media. It doesn't occur to them to seek an alternative. If you're hearing the same, you need to know all of these stations are owned, operated, controlled by the same entities. And they're not on your side. They're there to dictate to you. They're there to dominate you. They're there to control you. They're there to program you. They're there to tell you what to think and how to think. And now they've been trying to tell you what to put in your body. Even though that some of you may not want what they are prescribing, they want to force you. And they have politricians, you see, teaming up with so-called medical professionals. And, they're scientists with long titles. Well, you have to be a virologist to speak on these matters. Virologists, epidemiologists, you have to be scientists, you have to be doctors, nurses. You know what? Otherwise, you can't speak on it, right? That's supposed to be what it is. Except there are all of those people who are virologists, epidemiologists, nurses and doctors and scientists. They are all speaking. And guess what? One side, they are speaking different, They have a different view from the mainstream. And they're being demonized. I'm like, wait a minute. I am not one of them. So I can understand when you say, you're not an expert. Shut the hell up. You're not a professional. You don't know anything. You're a dumbass. And you're black. Who cares about you? So, okay, I said, let me listen. I listen to doctors of all genders, of all races. I listen to the young ones, the old ones, in the middle. I listen to the black ones, the brown ones, the white ones. I listen to the Chinese. I listen to them all. I don't just listen to one side. But you all have been programmed to do so. And you know what I noticed? They've been programming you on social media. They were sending all these stupid games. First of all, I've never participated in a freaking F-book game. Candy Crush. This is the one of the garden. You were gardening or farm something, and this and that. There's always another and another. I've never done that. Then you have the challenges. I've never done that. So what they've been doing is, they've been testing you to see how compliant you are, how much of a little sheep you are, how a little bitch you are, just following what Massa says. And someone like me is seen as, an agitator, they will label me a terrorist, for heaven's sake. Me, who healed my own damn self because the doctors couldn't and wouldn't and refused to and only prescribed medicines, the so-called rheumatologists. I had to fire 5. And when I try to talk about these things, YouTube prevents my video from loading. It's there, but it just spins around and around, and I test all my other videos, and they all play except for certain ones that they don't want aired. And I'm just speaking freely, speaking my mind, my opinion on the matter, what is going on that affects my life, and these people controlling the media and preventing me from speaking freely. Okay. Is that not racism? Sexism is some kind of ism, okay? So, the story circulating in the last 24 hours is, in the Ukraine, the Africans were attempting to flee. They were trying to get out, to go to a safer place. And the Ukrainian people were barring them. They were preventing them from boarding these trains. And so people are calling the Ukrainians racist. Well, so what? The Ukrainians have always been racist. Remember, yesterday you were saying, I knew it would come back to bite you in the ass, little boy. You little African boy. You little Nigerian boy in Ghana. I told you, when you were saying, pray for Ukraine, pray. I said, please don't do that. Please don't contribute to that. Please don't be one of those dumb Negroes, those dolts who just follow. Because this one is saying it, and he's like, and he's trying to be so righteous. He's like, like, bad. Oh, you're so bad. People died, and it doesn't matter who they are and what. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Because you all don't understand. You've been participating in these freaking rituals with these demons, and they have you just doing things, man. You're doing things without thought. There's no critical thought. There's no thought. Period. You're just doing as you're told, like you're a perfect little slave. And that's why sometimes I have to think, well, maybe we need some sterilization. Maybe some of you don't belong here. Maybe maybe I have to leave you behind. Maybe you deserve to be here going around in circles and never learning. Because you're never questioning. You're just accepting things. Things are not okay for you to just accept anything just because it's on TV, just because it's on CNN. Are you kidding me? By now you should have known, had you been paying attention, that CNN is the worst source for news. It's fraudulent. It's been reported. It's out there. Not just me saying that, but I've been aware of CNN and all the others. They're all the same, okay? All controlled, owned, operated by the same. It's an army that is against us. And it's literally good versus evil. Because we're pretty much innocent, just going about our business, trying to enjoy this shitty life they give us. Because life does not need to be so shitty, but it is. Because these motherfuckers call themselves leaders. They're liars, lawyers, politicians. And they're there to, they do the most and they do the worst. And they're doing the dealings, billion-dollar deals. You have your President Biden and his son, who is a crackhead. And they told me that's false news. There is so much news on this guy in his laptop and his videos. I've seen him. I saw him smoking crack in the video. I saw it. And this social media platform trying to tell me, oh, they're not gonna. What are they gonna do? Give my posts. They put it to them lower in the queue, who gives a shit? I don't care. You do whatever you want to do. You always do anyway. So what? It don't matter. Don't report shit to me. Just do it as you always do. I didn't want a freaking cell phone. Now I have one because I was forced to have a cell phone. I didn't want GMOs. And I'm not forced to eat GMOs. You know why? Because my body naturally rejects them. Just like the fruit flies don't want your genetically modified organisms, also known as seedless grapes. No matter if they're black, red, pink, the freaking fruit flies don't want them. So I don't eat them. The squirrels, the wildlife outside. I put the grapes outside. The animals in this winter, the final, a few days we get a mild and they come out, all the birds come. I try to give them these grapes. They don't want the damn grapes. Come on, man. I'm a nature girl. But people want to be transhuman. That's it. Do they really want to be transhuman, or it's been suggested to them so much they've been brainwashed and they're playing these video games and they're on these screens that teaching them that, everything is better than them. They're no good. So they're trying so hard to be like you who hate them. And then these guys find themselves in the Ukraine. The Ukraine is like one of the most corrupt places on this planet. The mafia. I have known Ukrainian people. All they do is drink alcohol, get drunk. And they get so drunk like it's stupid drunk. It's not just like a happy drunk. No, then they get depressed and they cry and they get angry and they get vicious and they venomous. That's what's going on over there now, because this is it. This is war, right? So the so-called war, right? They orchestrate it. You're Americans. The Americans are the dirtiest, filthiest players. And they were pointing at the Arabs. Trust me, the Arabs are not far behind, right? But the Arabs surely are not as bad as the Americans have been saying for all these years. Right? And they've been saying, so the Cold War, Russia, Cuba, Castro, and now there is Castro's son, allegedly. What's his name? This just in. Castro, son of Castro. They say, chip of the old block. Well, he's acting like, they say, a dictator. He has become a dictator. And then he is, lo and behold, there he is saying, announcing to the world how much he admires the dictatorship of Chinese government. What is it? Chinese Communist Party? He admires their dictatorship. You people who vote for this guy, you people who support this guy, you people who had wet panties, wet coochies for this dude. This dude is looking at you with contempt. Why? Because he probably have his how many concubines, and they're not you. They're not you. And you thought he was so... boy. Anyway, it's a mess, right? It's a mess. So I told the black guys, especially the Africans, stay away from these white chicks. I said that. Stay away from these white chicks. Hey, no racism here either. Give me this crap. Because I got white people. I have all those things in my background. And the biracial children, we love them. We love them just as much. But I'm saying, many of these biracial children are being born under circumstances that are less than ideal. Because they come into the world and they have to bear the brunt of the hatred from their black parent side, which is usually a man, a black man. The black man is hated in Europe. He is. Yes, he is. The white European females, they appear to love the black man. They don't. It's the penis. They love the black penis. Okay? The black penis that is used to procreate and bring mixed babies. Because the black male is so self-loathing, he does not want children that look like him or remind him of himself. He wants them to be mixed. And that's kind of weird. Self-hatred, that's taught by the European. So then you're trying to make your children look closer and closer to the ones who hated you. I saw the carnage in the Belgian Congo. What the Belgians did to the Congolese. Atrocious. So sad to see limbs chopped off. And today the African people still have not learned. All over the African continent, these Europeans are pillaging, stealing, robbing, extracting resources for generation after generation, and the people are plunging in poverty, and you pay the so-called leaders, the puppets that are there to just sell their people out and get their dollar so low, get their currency low. Their currency is of no value, and they're struggling, and they're poor, and they're trying so hard. The Nigerians are so ambitious, and you all are afraid. You are afraid of the Nigerian brain. You are afraid of the Ghanaians. You know, they gotta get a little more aggressive, right? But you see the Ugandans. The Ugandans are so brilliant, but of course they're not receiving, all the resources that could go to these people. It's not going to them. It's taken out of Africa and taken to Europe, so Europeans can speak of their greatness, and their greatness only comes from the theft of African countries for too long. For too long. They imagine the friggin' English people are question the French, this one and that one, and they all have what they've taken, right? Their loot, spoils of war, they call it, and they're asking whether is it a good idea? Do you think we should give Nigeria back all the artifacts we stole from their land? You took it from there and brought it to over there. Of course you have to bring it back. What the hell? You are the ones who were calling black people thieves. You know why? Because here in Toronto, a lot of Italian men hate black men. They just do. Especially the Italians and the Jamaicans. In school, it was played out all the time. They were always fighting. Why? Because the Italian girls love black dick. And the Italians are pissed off about it. But the Italians also love black coochie. Okay. So they're both pretty ridiculous. And so the Italian women hate black women, because the Italian men love black sex. No, I never said black women. They don't love us. People will think that, no, they love to have sex with us. Do you think they're having sex with us sober? No, because they bring the bottles. They bring the hashish. They bring the weed. Yeah, I was a girl. I didn't know anything about smoking weed. It was introduced to me by my boyfriend. My very first boyfriend was Italian. He taught me racism. And to find out that the Romans were there in Egypt, in Ethiopia. The Romans were there roaming because they were poor and they needed money, right? Just like the Spaniards, just like the French. And they come to our lands and they demonize us. And we are a subspecies, we're subhuman. And that also includes the indigenous, the dark-skinned indigenous that you all... I notice when I post on social media about the indigenous people being dark-skinned, man, it's like crickets, ghosts. The African Americans say nothing. It's kind of sad because some of them have indigenous roots. I heard Candace Owens say such nasty, she called them filthy, dirty, the indigenous people. I don't know if she was referring to the dark-skinned ones, the original ones, or if she's talking about the native ones that were brought there by the white people from, I don't know, looked like they came from Siberia because they look like they got Chinese in them. That's what's in Canada now. They call themselves natives. Before that, I'm talking about before that. The Aboriginal, the original, the indigenous, they were dark complected. Just like in Australia, right? And I speak so passionately about it because I met my grandmother took me to meet her father. The reason, because we lived in the city, we lived in the suburbs, and my great grandfather had lived on the banks of the river where he did his farming, and he lived, in solitude, and he was loving his life, peaceful. He would come down to church. He was a Baptist, and he would come to the church. And one time, it's like, I don't know how we used to message each other, but there was no telephones like that at the time. There were phones, but only the rich people had them. And so, but she discovered that he was coming to town. Or maybe he came for his church, I don't know. But he had a little house he lived in that was in the suburb, but that was away from his regular home on his land. It was this little house, because it was right near the church, so he could come to the city and spend a few days, go to the church and do what he needs to do in town. And there was a tree. It was a mango tree with the sweetest little beautiful pretty mangoes. They're very expensive here. I mean, very rare to find. Not everywhere sells them. But anyway, that was my great-grandfather. And that man looked, if you looked at this man, you would think he was Indian. Indian, because of his hair. He had Indian hair. And that's why a lot of African Americans hate us. And now they try to have hair like that. To this day, the African Americans and many other black people still trying to straighten their hair to look like those Indian people that these white people said did not exist. And it's the natives. No, they replaced us. They tried to replace us. You can't. We're like seeds and weeds, and we grow and we grow and we grow. We continue to grow no matter what. Right? We're still here. I'm still here. Because I cannot be silent and compliant when I remember my great-grandfather, what he looked like. He had very close to black skin. I can say that because when I was younger, my skin was close to black. I had close to black skin. My grandmother had close to black skin. It was my mom who was light complected. And she's very different from us. See, we have a more passion and fire. My mom is more subdued because she also has that other Indian, and those have been told, well, they're kind of Aryan, right? So they feel they are superior to us. You see, Indian against Indian. You see, that's why they have black against black. But my granny, as she says we are all black. And today people are telling me, no, we're not. We're not. Say we're indigenous. People are telling me what to call myself. They're always telling me what to call my fucking self, no matter where the hell they come from. And they don't acknowledge that we exist, but they want to tell us what to fucking name ourselves. These people are pretty ridiculous. They don't even know what's going on in their land. Their politicians have been tricking them repeatedly and, laughing. They're the laughing stock. But hey, they are voters. And they fight each other against these stinking white men in suits who are child molesters. Yeah. And they don't want to believe it. They call it conspiracy theory. Oh, we're crazy. We're nut jobs. And hey, I'm apparently a Trump supporter. I don't vote. I don't participate in any of this because I'm not of this world. But I can observe both sides. And I saw, first of all, you know why I wasn't a fan of Trump? Because of you guys. I was following you guys. You hated Trump, so I hated Trump. Because, how dare he say, hey, grab her by the pussy. Hey, you all say a lot worse than that on a daily basis. And you all do a lot worse than grab her by the pussy. You all are molesting children. You all like raping young boys. Plus, okay, you're doing a lot. You're doing the worst and the most. So, Trump was talking to a guy, he was trying to do his bravado and his machismo. That's what it sounded like to me. He sounded like a young guy just trying to show off, I'm cool with the chicks. I got it like that. I can just grab her by the pussy and seduce her. Well, isn't that what all these niggers are doing? These niggers are saying they have options. That's what it means. They're grabbing her by the pussy, him by the dick, him by the balls, sticking this dick here, sticking it, some boom, boom, boom hole, booty hole, titties. Listen, the content of my recording is for mature listeners. Discretion is advised. The reason possibly that I don't know, is it the race, is it the sex? I have no idea, but these platforms tend to try to silence me, okay? I just went off, but I had so many things I wanted to cover, but I don't want it to be too lengthy because most of you have such a short attention span, which is why you miss so much of what's going on in the world when you should be looking. I'm going to tell you, if you get nothing else from this, is don't only look at one side. If you're listening to, don't worry, if you listen to 5, 6, 8, 10 different networks, they're all the same. They're owned by the same and they're all saying the same thing. Look for an alternative. There are many alternatives and you're not going to find them on MSNBC, NBC, CNN, ABC, Fox. You're not going to find them there. You have to find the alternatives. They exist. The same way you can find the porn, you can find the news that matters. Thank you for listening. Please like, share, subscribe, comment or not. It's all good. But it's good to pay full attention always.